Hi. Well, currently, data analysis is something that is present everywhere. Now, almost everything works through databases. In fact, I think that we, by ourselves, are only a number within databases of companies, for example, our banks or our GPS. So, this is why nowadays it's really important to know how to analyze databases correctly. And statistics is the discipline that will help us to achieve it. Now, in order to explain the concept that I want to introduce today, first of all, it is important to understand what a probability distribution is. So let's start. Well, a probability distribution is a statistical function that describes all the possible values and likelihoods that a random variable can take within a given range. If we realize it, everything in life is stochastic. So let's imagine a situation. Think that you have a bakery. You cannot know exactly how often a customer will arrive or if the baker will always take the same time as kneading the bread. As we can see, all of these processes are not exact. But for example, if we analyze for a week all the times that the baker spends kneading the bread, we can see at the end of the week that they follow a probability distribution. And this happens with any process that we can imagine. Well, actually, there are several tools to determine the distribution that certain data follows, but in first instance, what must be done first is to make an histogram. Well, an histogram is an approximate representation of the distribution of numerical data, and each probability distribution has its associated histogram. Well, for example, as you can see in this image, this would be the histogram corresponding to a normal distribution, and this would be the histogram corresponding to a uniform distribution. Unlike these examples, there are a lot more. Well, to build a histogram, you can use various statistical softwares such as R, MINTAB, or Excel, but do it is very easy. You only have to enter the data in the program, since almost all the programs already have some internal tools to build histograms like in just 2 seconds. So, already having clear what a probability distribution and an histogram are, now I can proceed to explain my main topic of this speech, goodness of fit test. These are statistical tests used to test if sample data fits a distribution for a certain population. Well, histograms are a graphical way to determine the possible distribution of a data set. However, the graphical methods will never be exact. So it is necessary to carry out a goodness of fit test to be sure that the distribution of the data is okay. So there are several goodness of fit tests. Some of the most popular that are used in statistics include the chi-square, the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, and the Shapiro-Wilk test. And each of these can be used in different situations. For example, the Kolmogorov test is used when there are less than 20 data, and the chi-square test is for large amounts of data. So, in general, the steps to develop a goodness of fit test are: first, perform the histogram of the data. Then, look at it and think of what distribution the data resembles only by looking at the histogram. Then, apply the goodness of fit test using some statistical software, and finally, conclude. Well, at the end of the goodness of fit test, what the statistical software will return is a value called p-value. When this value is greater than 5%, we can conclude that the data does fit to the chosen distribution. But if it is less than 5%, the goodness of fit test must be performed again, but this time for another distribution. Well, to conclude, I think that these tests are vital for the understanding of many things. For example, in the US market, the returns of the actions should always be distributed normally, or in general, the times between call arrivals in a call center are usually distributed exponentially. So, I consider that it's important to be informed about this statistical knowledge because you never know when you need to apply it. So personally, I believe that data science is the basis of the future. So you should be informed about it.